All right, we're back. Episode 2, Ovid Metamorphoses is a topic of the podcast today. And I have special guest, none other than AJ. Y'all remember him from the first episode. Let's go, AJ.
Once more. How's it going, man? Of
Good. I appreciate you taking time and doing this with me.
course. Happy to help.
All right, so let's kick off things. Ovid's Metamorphoses. So, key theme is change, right? Everything just constantly changing. And specific point that I picked out from the text be the four ages of mankind.
Okay.
So kicking off, we have the Golden Age being the first one, moving on to the Silver Age, and then to the Bronze Age, and to the Iron Age. And you're probably thinking like, okay, there's four ages. What happened? Don't worry about it. I got you. So the Golden Age was basically like it was perfect. It was a time of trust, moral goodness, fruitfulness. Everybody was just having the time of their life. There was no laws, you know. Everybody just kind of lived in unison. Everything was good, right? And, and then we move on to Silver Age. Things get a little bit more interesting. You see, like people had to like work for a living in this one, and then with the Silver Age, you know, we started having seasons. People, we had summer, autumn, winter, spring, and so people decided to, build homes, right? It gets cold, want to survive and whatnot. Also, then they started growing things, you know. So we go on to the Bronze Age. That is basically where you start to see the first wars, and then some semblance of, morality persisted. Um, and then it says when cruel people were inclined to arms, but not to impious crimes.
Okay.
So, the final age. Now, take a guess. What do you think happens in the Iron Age, AJ?
Well, just basing off of what you're detailing with these different ages, it's almost like the crumbling of
Mm,
almost like utopian ideals, so to speak.
yeah.
So I would imagine it only gets worse from here.
Ding, ding, ding. You're correct. Yeah, you
There
noticed
you
the
go.
pattern, right? Yeah. And so we go to the Age of Iron. Well, nothing is sacred. Even family ties lead to bloodshed. You know, it's basically where malignant, vain, great evil sprung, and modesty and faith and truth took flight. A lot of deceit, a lot of fraud, a lot of violence, wicked love of gain succeeded. Um, it's really, really nasty era occurred, you know, and I picked
Yeah.
that because the whole theme of this is change. And,
Yep.
change is going to happen. It's just how we react. And you can see throughout all these ages, it's how they reacted, you know? So, like,
Yeah. That's.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just say, like, what are your thoughts, metamorphoses in
Yeah,
general?
it's very curious because, like, to me, my understanding of metamorphosis comes from more of a STEM background. My background is in biology, so the concept of like metamorphosis is from a larval immature stage to a mature adult stage. So you'd actually see kind of the inverse of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Um, you have you essentially have like the declination and like I mentioned earlier, just the crumbling of like utopian ideals. So you get to a point of like almost like this absolute just cesspit behavior. You have, at the beginning of these four ages of not knowing laws because they're not needed, or everybody living in essentially in a harmonious state to the point where now uh you have just outspread just violence and just mayhem, I suppose to say,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
It's an interesting concept to kind of wrap around because it's almost like the inverse of what I understand the concept to be.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Also, like, I failed to mention, but like before the four ages that we talked about
Yeah.
goes from the beginning. Is he mentions like a God separated earth from heaven, sea from land, lighter air from a heavier air, and then
Okay.
filled the heavens with stars and fish into the seas, beasts into the land, birds in the air, and then man was created to rule the world, which brought it the four ages.
Uh huh.
Then change ensued. Uh, Also, with this, like we could talk about like personal experience and knowledge of change. Like I joined the
Sure.
military, I had to, change my ways prior and adapt to the
Oh,
new
pretty
environment,
fast too.
you
Yeah.
know?
A
So
very
it's
quick adaptation, mind you, right?
for sure.
Being in a situation of you joined the military after high school, right?
Right after, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that is like diving feet first into hell,
Right. A
right?
lot of a lot of uncomfortable things I had to get comfortable with, and
Very fast.
yeah,
So yeah,
the
that's
turnaround was crazy. Just having to
that is an
adapt
absolute, you know, absolute great example of metamorphosis in a very short period of time.
for
I
sure.
guess for me specifically was somewhat on the same level, but just the change of being in high school to a university setting.
Yeah.
Um, being in high school, I wasn't a bad student by any means. I did fairly well, but being in a public schooling situation, you didn't necessarily take um, the academia all that serious. There was a lot of a lot of extracurricular activities that were involved with being a teenager.
Oh,
But when
I'm right there with you for sure.
yeah, yeah, you could definitely understand what I'm getting at. But
Yeah.
um, switching over to a university setting, it's a completely different ball game. Because one, not only are you paying for it, it's essentially you know uh, the diving board going into your future career. It is it is very much a it's very much a more mature um ethical, attitude of being a high schooler to, like I said, going for that college degree and
Yeah.
eventually pursuing a career for the rest of your life. It is absolute, metamorphosis, so to speak.
Yeah. A really good explanation for sure. Very relatable explanation as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that I think most people, if they were to hear this, would understand because
Yeah.
it's very common.
That's good. Let's go. I mean, that's pretty much all I have. I don't know if you have anything else to add, AJ, on the topic.
No,
I
not
think you
really.
explained it really well.
Yeah, just kind of just explaining how, what this concept means to me and also just kind of a more generalized understanding. So,
Nice. That's all I have on the subject. And we can wrap things up here.
sure.
Appreciate you taking the time
Of course. Thanks for
chatting with
having
me.
me and yeah, by all means.
Of course, of course. I'll probably see you on the next one. We got one I think coming up in a few weeks. I'm not sure on the
Okay.
topic. I have to look on it, but I'll get with you. But yeah,
Of course. Yeah, definitely.
right. We'll see you later.
See ya.